Next, let's look at integration. So I'm just going to write out the integration rules. Integrate xn dx is xn plus 1 over n plus 1. Do the reverse of differentiation. Just remember, integration is the reverse of differentiation. Ax plus b power n is reverse chain rule. So in chain rule, you bring down the power. So now you increase the power. So you get ax plus b power n plus 1. In chain rule, you multiply by the power. So you divide by the power now. In chain rule, you times the inside differential. So now you divide by the inside differential. Okay. Integrate sign will be negative cosine ax plus b over a. Integrate cosine sine ax plus b over a. Integrate secant square tangent ax plus b over a. Integrate e ax plus b. Differentiate, you keep it there, right? So integrate, you also keep it there. But differentiate, you times a. So integrate, you divide by a. Okay. Integrate 1 over ax plus b will be ln of ax plus b over a. Take note, especially for ln only appears if the denominator power is 1. Okay. Power of x is 1. If you have something bracket square, something bracket whatever, then the power of x is not 1, you cannot use ln. You fall back to reverse chain rule. Okay. Properties of integration, if you have constants, take it out to make your life easier. Plus minus of integration is the same as, sorry, plus minus then integrate is the same as integrate first then plus minus. Okay, so you can also integrate term by term. Okay, if you differentiate capital F, you get small f. Then you integrate small f, you must get capital F plus c. Okay, so I will illustrate this in more detail later. So let's look at the question. 2 minus 3x plus power 5. So you just put in the original one. Power go up, divide by new power, divide by inside. So divide by inside, not times inside. Okay. So but the same thing apply for integration as differentiation. If you can simplify it, you simplify it. So for this second question, we are going to split it up first to get this. Then we integrate so that your life can be easier. Okay, then 2 over 1 minus 3x. 2 is not important. We take it out because it's a multiple. Then you get 2 ln 1 minus 3x over negative 3 plus c. Okay, integrate tangent square. The only square you can integrate is secant square. So let's look at here. The only trigo square that you can integrate is secant square. If you got anything else, refer to formula list and change it to something that you can integrate. So for example, tangent square, we will change it to tangent square plus 1 equals to secant square, correct? So it will be integrate secant square x minus 1 dx. So you get tangent x minus x plus c. Cosine square, same thing. You cannot integrate cosine square because you can only integrate secant square. So refer to formula list. Formula list have cosine square 2 times. Sine square plus cosine square is 1. Doesn't make sense you put in this because if you cannot integrate cosine square, what makes you think you can integrate sine square? So this is wrong. Instead, we will use cosine 2a equals to 2 cosine square a minus 1. So cosine square a will be cosine 2a plus 1 over 2. So this will give us cosine 6x plus 1 over 2. And you can do cosine. Okay. So I'm going to take out a half first. Then put in a bracket. So integrate cosine is sine 6x over 6 plus x plus c. Okay. When you see this 6x squared over 3x plus 2 bracket 2x minus 1, you cannot integrate numerator, integrate denominator. It doesn't work. Alright, there is no such rule as integrate numerator, denominator. There's only integrate plus minus. There's no integrate times, there's no integrate division. Okay, so for this, you must apply partial fractions. Okay, so all the best. Okay, normally the question will guide you that you must do partial fraction. Okay, now let's look at this kind of question. This is important. The questions that ask you to differentiate, then integrate. So this relates back to just now this part here, the capital Fx one. So differentiate x ln x squared, you will get ln x squared plus x 2 ln x 1 over x, which is ln x squared plus 2 ln x over x. Okay. Now, hence integrate ln x plus 1 whole thing square. The objective, or rather the trick to this kind of question is you don't care part 2 first because it's a hence. So we cheat. Part 1, you ask me to differentiate, I get this. Part 2, you want me to integrate, so I don't follow what you want first. I always integrate my part 1 first. So you always integrate part 1 first. So you will get integrate ln x squared plus 2 ln x over x dx equals to x ln x whole thing squared. Okay, this is always the starting guiding step. Okay. Okay, I realize there's a mistake here. This should be 2 ln x. Okay, so this is 2 ln x. So once you have written this, then you think about this question. How do you change what you currently have to what the question wants? Okay, so I think what you should do is let's expand this. Then you will get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, so what you have now is here. This is what we have now. I want to change it to look like what the question wants. So we just put in the plus 1 now. That means it's ln x squared plus 2 ln x plus 1 dx equals to x ln x squared. Take note, when you plus 1 on the left, right, it was inside the integration sign. So you also plus 1 with an integration sign here. Okay? Then you will get ln x plus 1 whole thing squared dx equals to x ln x squared plus x plus c. Okay? So this is the general trick that you should employ to solve for the equation. Okay. So let's say I'll give you another example. Okay, part 1, differentiate x ln x. Then you will get ln x plus x times 1 over x, which is ln x plus 1. Okay. So let's say part 2, they say, hence, integrate ln x dx. So like I said just now, you don't care integrate what? Part 2. Just reverse the part 1 first. So reverse the part 1 by writing your integrate of your answer equals to the question. Then you think of now how to change this to become the question in part 2. So I need to minus 1. So if I minus 1, I must minus 1 here. That means I will get x ln x minus x plus c.